welcome to this episode of Trident Talks. I'm Chloe, principal here at Trident, focusing on go-to-market strategies across cybersecurity. This is the fourth episode of the Failure File series, where I chat with incredible leaders across cyber about the challenges they've faced, lessons they've learned, and definitely those failure moments that actually paved the way for success. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Amanda and Hayden from Hunted Labs. And a fun first for us, our very first co-founding couple. Hi guys, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, how's it going?
Really good, thanks for joining. So let's start with the essentials. Would you guys give everyone like a 60-second elevator pitch, who you guys are and what Hunted Labs does?
Yeah, I'll start. So, my name's Hayden. My background is all in cybersecurity, mainly on the defensive side of cybersecurity. I've probably spent the past 5 years working in software supply chain. Uh, Actually, probably more than that, but startups tend to like warp your understanding of time. And worked a lot with the US government and US Air Force and those initiatives. Um, Really, what Hunted Labs does is focus on finding the bad guys inside of your software supply chain. So, really looking at identifying what critical components are used to power your applications and your mission critical systems, and then identifying adversarial foreign influence uh, of those components. So, looking at who controls what and protecting those against potential compromise and safeguarding software supply chains for the United States' most critical mission sets.
Sweet.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I'm one of the co-founders of Hunted Labs. My background is primarily in marketing and business. I was previously head of operations of a small business. So what I bring to the founding team and what I bring to the org every single day is that background of being able to operate a business and having my hands in all pieces of it. So I'm investor facing, customer facing, employee facing, of course. So really having my hands in all areas of the business to make sure that we are creating a machine that can move accordingly.
So Hayden's brought you over to the dark side, right, of cybersecurity?
Yes, startup world and cybersecurity, and being in it for the past 2 years it's been a really great experience, which I'm excited to dive into.
Sweet. So you've said before the only way to grow is by getting things wrong. Tell me about some of those like learning curves, the failures that shaped you up to how you guys are today, both personally and as founders. Who wants to kick us off with a story?
You want to go first, Amanda?
I think it's not so much a story, but what I've really realized, specifically in the past 2 years and previously as well, before I was at Hunted, was trying to get timing right. So making sure the problem you're solving is the market is ready for it, making sure you hire at the right time, the right person at the right time. And so I think those types of things is just getting timing right. And there have been some things that we haven't gotten the timing right, where we were too early or we waited too long. And so I think from that, what I've realized is just like at the end of the day, like your gut actually knows what you need and what your org needs. And so listening to that and cutting out the chatter and the noise that you see out there, and really just going with that like gut feeling, I think is something that we've really been able to lean on and as we've continued to grow. But yeah, that's my thing, is just listening to timing and making sure you're on it when it feels right.
Yeah,
What about
that
you?
makes sense. In terms of, I just wanted to ask you a question on that. How do you get the confidence to follow your gut?
Gosh, I think just having reps of like hearing yourself, your inner self kind of telling you something and then acting on it, right? And then being like, oh, okay, I got that one right. And that was a good one, right? Or knowing, okay, I second guessed myself too long on that other one and I should have listened, right? So I think just going back and looking at what you did listen to yourself on and then what you listened too much on from the outside, right? It's like, okay, I should not have relied on that outside voice that was trying to get in and change your mind when you were right to begin with.
I think really Amanda hit something really good, which is like confidence in yourself. So I think you combine that with the factor of waiting too long to execute. And when you tie those in as a founder in the very early days, especially when you're like just starting building, um, it's very easy to wait too long and to see if you're going to get traction on something or see if people are going to respond to put something out. And so when like we put out a great example of this, we put out our first threat report at Hunted Labs, and we believe, this is going to get everyone really galvanized behind kind of what our core mission is, what we led off with at the beginning of this. And what we recognized was actually we have a lot of critics. And I think recognizing critique is really good. And really taking the good and the bad with those criticisms. Like there was ways we actually reshaped how we do some of our engineering and how do we do, some of our product work from the critiques we got from that. But I think that comes with you have to have confidence that in the face of adversity will carry you through. So, and still remain true to your core mission and your core values of what you're trying to do with your overall product. So, really maintaining, having that almost borderline egotistical confidence to go out there and say, you know what, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. And I think without that, you're fighting an uphill battle as a founder. If you don't have that amount of confidence in yourself, it's really hard for others to believe in what you're trying to do. And like a great example of this is, if you just ask someone, right, like, hey, when is, you can ask them like a basic question, right? And you see how people respond to that. So you could say, hey, when was the Declaration of Independence signed, right? And they're like, I don't know. What date was that again? It's like, wow, that person like I don't know, isn't confident in that answer versus if you're confident, it's just quick, to the point, assertive. You have to keep that drive and you have to keep moving, right? And that's one thing I learned is if you stop moving and stop building, you are setting yourself up for failure. You will die out here in the graveyard of startups that have tried and failed, right? And I think a lot of that, I don't have like a time machine to go back, but I think a lot of that can go back to, founder confidence getting just absolutely destroyed by bombardment from critics and competition. So staying true to yourself, staying true to yourself in terms of confidence and your capabilities to deliver, what you say you will deliver and provide from a product and engineering and even a company perspective.
Yeah, 100%. And now we've got AI, however you want to look at it, on your side. I look at it as a big time saver. It's like, right, well, that's freeing up so much time for everyone to be, innovating, working on these projects, getting things over the line, getting things done at a lot quicker speed. Which means, yes, you've always got to be that one step ahead or 10 steps ahead, especially with AI and everything as well. So yeah, no, I like that. Definitely confidence is key. So let's talk about the dual reality of being a couple and co-founders. It must be tough, right? Time to time.
Yeah. I think
so. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't know. I just feel like it's such a blessing in my mind, just because like there are certain times, especially like when I was working for the government, like there's certain times where stuff happens at work. You can't tell her, what's happening at work because that problem is classified. You know what I mean? And so being in a job now, with my significant other, it's actually really transparent. So all those problems that we hit during the course of our 9 to 5 workday, or like we say all the time in our house, it's actually 24/7, 365, right? So like even when we're on vacation, there's no turning it off. And so I think leaning into it has actually helped a lot. So like at first it was like, oh, we really shouldn't be talking about work, and it's like comical now where we'll be at a kid's baseball game and we'll be like, yeah, so I don't mean to bring up work at this random time right now, but I think just being accepting of that and knowing, yeah, they're thinking of something creative, they're thinking of a solution most of the time, and just noting it down and saying, yeah, I got 2 minutes, like what do you got? And then knowing how to compartmentalize, so knowing, okay, we need to we can intake this information, compartmentalize it, and shut it down, right? And then go back into family mode, or back into, for me, going back into husband mode, and dad mode, which is my favorite mode. Dad mode is my favorite. So I think that is really key. I mean, there's some other tricks we have up our sleeve, like maintaining separate communication channels um, for personal life and for work life, so that way we can keep there's no cross contamination. But it's been definitely, in my opinion, more good than bad. Doing this with Amanda. So that's what I would say about doing it with your spouse. I actually wrongly encourage people to do launch companies with their spouse, but everyone's
I
like,
wondered what you were going to say then for a minute,
Yeah.
so I'm glad
yeah,
you
people are like,
followed up that.
yeah, they're like, yeah, I encourage them to start launch companies with their spouse because there's no one else I trust more than Amanda. And having that unconditional support is so key. And I think tying it back to the confidence thing, they could kind of check you where it's like, hey, maybe you're getting too confident, or hey, what's up? Like, why are you kind of under, you're not feeling like yourself, and I feel like they can help push you along on those really, really tough days. And the beauty about startups is there are plenty of tough days to go around. So having that pick me up is a big game changer.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Amanda?
Yeah, honestly, it's been so much fun because Hayden and I have known each other for so long. We've always worked as a team, like from as long as I can remember. Like I remember in high school, like I got a job at like a retail store and he wanted to like have one at the store right next to me. So it's like we were always trying to like work together, and we always found that we always found each other like in summer jobs or trying to be in the same classes. Like we were constantly trying to be near each other. And so we always knew that one day we would have a company together. We just like didn't know what it was going to be. And so when we started Hunted, we were like, okay, this is it. Like I knew this is the moment we've been waiting for. And so it's honestly just been so much fun, like going back to like being very strict on like where we communicate. Like in one app, I'll be like, hey, did you send that email? And then literally 2 minutes later in the next app, I'll say, hey, this is what I need from the grocery store. And he says yes to both, right? So it's like, it's great. It's just about compartmentalizing, choosing the right time to bring up the right topics. If you miss the timing, it could be catastrophic, right? But if you get it right, it's like, it could be like the most fun conversation. And we'll just look at each other and we're like, can you believe like this is happening? And we'll be like, oh my God, no, like this is so crazy. And then it's fun with the kids, right? Like they're in it too. They hear us and they're like, oh my God, mom and dad, you need to like calm down. Stop talking so loudly. I know you're excited, but like chill. And we're like, we can't, good things are happening, So it's like, it's all about timing. And we've just honestly always have known that we wanted to work together. It's just, I think it's just our personalities. It's just it really does work.
I love that. And you as a couple, like to investors, employees, customers, like how has that been received?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fun.
Amanda, you want to take that one?
There's some fun stories where it's like it a lot of the time it comes up naturally. Like people just want to know, how did you get started with Hunted? How did you meet? You know, and so like you can only cover that up for so long. So it's easier to just be like, oh yeah, we're married and we've always wanted to start a business together and this is what we're doing, right? And then people are like, whoa, that's so cool. But there's been some really funny like interactions where someone doesn't realize we're married because we just kind of missed it, right? And once they realize it, they're like, oh my God, like that is so cool. Like
Yeah.
that literally happened with one of our employees. Like I had accidentally just like forgot to mention it in the interview process. So her first day I was talking to her and I was like, hey, and so yeah, I mean, hey, are married, blah, blah. And she's like, what? And I was like, no, like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, this is like the coolest thing ever. So it's always been like really, really positive reactions and it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun part of it. What about you, Hayden? What do you think?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, yeah, no, it's funny. Like I love having fun with it. So like there was one of my like a colleague I've known for a long time in the cyberspace. Um, he's never met Amanda, but knows I'm married. Finally the other day he goes, "Man, what does your wife do for work?" And I was like, "She works at Hunted Labs." And he had met Amanda at all these different trade shows. So like we would, meet up, get drinks or whatever at these different trade shows. Um, and so he's had full on conversations with Amanda. And then I said, he's like, what does she do for Hunted Labs? And I was like, she runs the entire business portion of it, like the operations side. He was like, "Oh my gosh, Amanda's your wife?" And then I was like, "Yeah." And that was funny because like he's definitely seen her around, talked to her for over a year, and then just found out. So yeah, it's pretty funny, and it's kind of hard like to track like who you told versus didn't tell. So
Right.
that always adds some spice to it too.
Yeah, I think it's just testament to like the professionalism that you've got as well though. Like you can obviously like switch it up and be that couple at home, but then like you can really dial into being co-founders at the same time and everything. So that obviously resonates with like one of the employees that you've employed, Amanda, and someone that in the cyber security industry, Hayden, as well. So it's just like that's just testament to like who you are as people as well, which is always great. On a more practical note, what kind of work is like energizing for each of you? Like, is there certain tasks that you tend to avoid or tend to pass on to each other that you're like, right, that's Amanda's bag, that's Hayden's bag?
Yeah, I think stuff that I love doing kind of solo is like developing the new capabilities or thinking about what's next for Hunted from an engineering and technical perspective that will deliver value to customers. So actually like going out with these pretty slick prototypes, talking about them with customers to say, "Hey, we're about to build this. Like, are you interested?" And seeing their faces light up and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe Hunted could do this. This is like a dream, right? Like we need this yesterday." That's amazing. I love that thrill. Um, Things I like to do together though. Hunted is very big on like our branding and how everything from the fonts we use to t-shirts to everything. And we put a lot of time and energy into that. And Amanda mainly takes point on that. But I love to have brainstorming sessions around, hey, what do we think our next shirt should be that will make, drive traffic to the booth at the show? Like those are super fun conversations to have over like a glass of wine and stuff and to just whiteboard about um at like 10:30 at night, which is like totally normal couple behavior, right? Is to be working and working on marketing material at 10:30. So yeah, that's what I love. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what's really fun is just like throwing ideas about branding and messaging and positioning at the wall and like laughing at each other if it's like totally off or a bit like, just but when we hit it good, like it is like such a good we love just making that content together. So that's just something like playful and fun that makes being in this position that can feel really heavy, really, really, really fun. I literally like will have a day where I'm like, oh man, I have something really important I need to get done. And then I'm like in Canva, like trying to make something up, like a branding
Yeah,
thing or a sticker. It's fun.
I think
You gotta have fun with it.
yeah, and like Amanda's done a good job at like really tying the I think forgotten about side of cybersecurity, which is the human element part of it. Like even what we do at Hunted is all about the human, right? It's all about
Mm.
who's actually writing the code. And in some cases, it's an agent writing the code, right? But really focusing back on like the human side of cybersecurity and really making people feel this sense of empowerment when they decide to pick up and use the hunted products to say, you know
Mm.
what, I'm in control of defending my software, and it makes me feel like I'm strong and can defend myself, and that is like really plays into like how we brand. Like even on this shirt that I'm wearing, uh, there you go. You could see that kind of gothic font. Like we want people to feel. People call it the liquid death branding, right? But really, we want people to feel, you know, that they're I don't know, bad fill in the blank, right? Like so we really want them to feel, that kind of sense of we want them to have an emotional connection, right? And I
Mm.
think that's different. Like I've picked up probably 50 different cyber products in my career at a minimum. And there's no like connection you have to it, right? But if you can pick something up and you're like, yeah, I love to rock the Hunted brand. I want people to know this is what we're using and I want to tell people about it. If it makes you feel a certain way, then I think that goes a long way in kind of your story, honestly.
Sure.
I could think of so many products I use or I use and buy, right, that make me feel good, right? Or they make you feel cool. Or like, that's a huge side of it that I think gets slept on by the entire market. But Amanda's done a really good job at like really driving that home, so.
Nice. Um, and that probably leans into my next question really nicely. Like, what traits do you admire about your partner that you think makes them like a strong founder for a startup?
Hmm. Yeah. I admire Amanda's patience. So that's one thing. If like, and PSA to anyone that wants to come work at Hunted Labs, you got to be super patient. Um, so that's one thing. The other thing is forgiveness, because there's a lot of mistakes we make along the way, and being able to quickly forgive, I think is important, and say, you know what, this person had the best intention in mind when they did X, but we didn't have the intended result, or that's super important. And I think at the end of the day too, what really like I look for in everyone I hire is everyone we hire is that hardworking component. So I've been very blunt about this, where I look for, we look for people that have kind of that blue collar background, that have worked with their hands, that have been out in the sun, that have sweat when, that I went to work and sweat outside when they didn't want to go to work, but they had to because they had to pay the bills. That's grit, right? That's like a different type of hard work. And so we look for folks like that. And that's a characteristic Amanda certainly has. And, from that example, she sets that example for the entire team.
Sweet.
Thank you. That was nice. Um, for Hayden, I mean, for anyone who's ever been face to face with Hayden, like you, what I really admire is how he's able to just socialize with people on such a serious topic. How to bring something that has been so challenging for the market to solve, and then bring it to a spot where like anyone at any level, whether you're familiar with software or you've been in it since the time it was created, he's able to simplify the solution and be personable about it. Like literally, he's so much fun to be around and to talk to about security. Really, like I didn't know someone could be so much fun to talk about with it, but that's him, and he does it in a very respectful way and in a way of wanting to help. Like something that we always talk about is like we don't want what we've created to not be able to get into the hands of the people that need it. And so Hayden's always trying to find new ways of like, okay, if this route is too much for this customer, like how can I get it to them can I get it to them in this route, right? So like constantly like putting that mission first so that we get our data and our solution in front of people in like such a cool social way is just like a gift Hayden has. Like everyone I have ever, interacted with who's met Hayden, they're just like, whoa, he's like the coolest person. And that's like Chloe, I was like so excited for you to meet Hayden because I was like, you're gonna love him. He's so much fun. And he knows how to, take a very serious problem very seriously, but have fun with it. And I think his compassion as well, like just compassion constantly for our team members, all of our partners, our clients, just that constant compassion and being a human about what we're trying to do and making sure we do it right. And also like he holds like so much integrity. Like he will say he's going to do something and he does it. And if he can't do it, he'll be straight up with you and say, oops, like messed up there. Like, let me fix it this way. Right. So, that's really something that I think is really hard to find in this industry. And he carries that every single second of every single day in every conversation he has. And so seeing him do that, even if he's just like on the phone next to me talking to someone, I'm like, oh my God, he's like so cool and just freaking a good person at the end of the day.
You guys must feel pretty good about each other now, right?
I do.
After all that admiration.
My head is getting bigger as we speak. It cannot fit in the room.
Let's shift gears and talk about Hunted Labs. We've gone over your passion for it. We've talked a bit about the USP at the start for the company, but for the listeners who haven't really come across you guys before, what do you actually do and why does it matter? What changes are you making in the industry?
Yeah, so I think I hit on it a little bit earlier, but really focusing, instead of focusing, like data is a part of it, software is a part of it, of course, but really tying in the human elements of risk and making that part of an average software supply chain lifecycle. So really the way that we approach it is, factoring in ties that, developers in the open source community may have to adversarial foreign countries, right? And then diving down a little bit deeper to look at, what are those connections, and do they have connections to, people or things that have in the past been hostile to the United States from a cyber perspective. So looking at that, I think is really important. That's like definitely our differentiator, is looking at who these people are, actually maintaining the code that you rely on, because if you trust that, once you trust that code, it's now in your environment, right? So it's in your workflows, it's everywhere. So that problem can get pervasive really quickly, and there's been a slew of kind of software supply chain attacks that prove that as true, and it is substantial evidence. So we have a couple of different ways of doing that. So we have our first thing, which is kind of our depth diver threat intelligence. That's like the easiest way to access us and look at what we're doing. So you could get a full readout of risk and intel for each dependency that you rely on. And then that integrates directly to an IDE extension. So you actually don't need to go to a user interface. If you're a developer, you can have that same threat intelligence stream directly into your workspace, and it overlays on top of whatever you're using as a code assistant tool, right? So this could be Codex, Gemini, Cursor, whatever it is. And, that's really powerful. A lot of people see tremendous value because now we don't need to actually run it through a pipeline and wait to get results back from security. We actually know our vulnerability, exploit, and threat intel kind of profiling on a piece of software that we're shipping in our products from from square one, right? So that's really cool. I love that. And then we have our Intercept platform, which is a little bit beefier, a little bit more robust for enterprises that we deploy, that has everything that Depth Diver has, but then also provides all the kind of enterprise-ish capabilities. So like role-based access control, SSO, reporting, policy enforcement, baking it into CI workflows, seeing not just one dependency that you would see in Depth Diver, but seeing, what does an entire source code repository look like? Or what does this tarball look like? Or what does this image from one of my like containerization pipelines look like? All that stuff can be wrapped up into Intercept, and then now you're not looking at threat intel against one dependency. You're actually looking at a threat intelligence profile against a collection of dependencies. So that's very unique, and there's some unique features we have in there. One I love to call out is blast radius. So actually exploding, detonating a source code repository and looking at all the vulnerabilities, exploits, and adversarial foreign influence overlaid into this really cool kind of network diagram that cyber practitioners are used to seeing, right? So it's a very comfortable UI for them. So really, just trying to give the people what they want here.
100%. And how for like enterprise, is it like how long does it take to deploy and everything for a business?
Yeah, so very quickly, I would say. So definitely, probably in under 10 minutes. And so you could get going extremely quickly. So it's all cloud native, deploys on top of Kubernetes. And you can run this inside your environment really easily.
Nice. Amanda, this might be one for you. Who were the first like people to really believe in you guys, those early champions, backers, helping you build credibility in the market?
Yeah, I think we have another co-founder, Tim Barone. He kind of came alongside Hayden in those first, days where he was like, yeah, let's do this, right? So we have someone on our founding team who I give a lot of credit to, kind of helping us navigate where we are now. I think we also have, a colleague who Hayden has known for years, and there's been a lot of people that Hayden has known for years within the industry that we've been able to lean on, that have validated, yeah, this is a need, there will be a market for this, you just got to push, so I think those friends and colleagues who are knowledgeable of the industry have been really, really great. And so just leaning on those people. And then we found our first investors with Red Cell Partners. And George Barnes, who's the cyber practice president there. He's someone that, we've seen on TV. And we were like, man, we just need to get in front of this guy, and all the stars aligned, and we reached out to Red Cell, and they replied back, and kind of the rest has been history with them. So having them back us has been really great to push us along at the speed we've needed to push at. So yeah, there's been some really great people. Those are just a few, honestly. There's been so many that I could just cry if I think about it too long.
No, 100%. I know that you guys are still super early on, but is there like maybe moments that you've obviously talked about where, you've taken that feedback on from customers or design partners, maybe a few moments that have taught you something about your product market fit or your own resilience. Like, could you share a few words of wisdom from your early days?
Oh yeah, I have so many here. I think there's like one lesson I learned super early on, like just in my life, was like the customer's always right. Honor that. You will go far if you really abide by that. So, um, with I think one of our first kind of design partners, we had this really cool, like I thought it was cool. Our design partner was like, "This is so basic. Like, why don't you just do it like this, right?" And so one of those things was like probably 2 years ago, we had this really cool LLM, so you could ask it, where's this specific piece of software across my entire ecosystem. So across all my source code repositories, across all my images and this, that. But you would have to and you could ask it stuff in natural language. I thought it was amazing. Like I wish it existed when I would respond to like 0-day incidents. They're like, why don't you just make it a one-click button that's like a widget in the UI? And I was like, that is not in the AI wheelhouse, and it's so basic. And then like I just didn't think it was sexy enough. And then once I built it, I was like, oh wait, yeah, they were definitely right. This works a lot better and is a lot more performant than standing up all this infrastructure to support this. So that was like one story. Another story is like with our very first design partner, um, who really gave us, a big jump start in doing the adversarial foreign influence bit, where they really pushed us quite hard. So it wasn't just about adversarial foreign influence. It was tell me about all the foreign influence. I don't care if the person's in, France, Germany, wherever. Tell us about all the foreign influence in the open source ecosystem. And that just widened our lens into, the art of the possible. So the amount of data we have to go scrape, how performant it needs to be. They had tons of feedback around that. So did our second design partner. So really focusing on that stuff was challenging. Like getting, okay, we need the query to run like sub 1 second. That's really hard when you talk about the amount of data we're pushing through our threat intel feed. And then getting it there, it's super fulfilling, right? And the whole goal is like, we wanted this to be integrated into developer workflows and things like that. That's what the customer wanted. And again, customer's always right. So going back to that and having to go and re-architect and re-architect and re-architect and try again in the face of failure. And we failed a bunch, right? Like there was a bunch of approaches we took and that didn't work out. And so again, like you have to go back to your confidence and just know, okay, we got the best engineering team on the block. We can figure this out. That approach didn't work, but we're getting closer, and recognizing the positive things to overcome that.
100%. And every startup obviously faces hurdles. And you've talked about some of the like product challenges at the start, the technical side. Is there anything maybe from that like commercial side of things that you, Amanda, have felt like have been some big hurdles for you that you've definitely overcome?
Yeah, I think something, I've read so much where it's like, as a startup, like don't try to do too many things. Don't try to solve too many problems with too many features, right? So I think being able to remind ourselves that what we're really good is identifying and removing foreign influence from what within open source software and focusing on that, while also doing like all the table stakes stuff that you see across the industry and our competitors doing. Like we can do that, but what we need to make sure we're focusing on and selling right and promoting right is that foreign influence piece and how we identify that and how we remove that. So I think iterating on that within our product has been like a technical challenge, but really exciting and cool. And I think with Depth Cyber, which is our product that we just launched of January of this year, that's what that tool is. It's taking everything we've been building the past 2 years and making it into a really easy product to access, since it's our first SaaS product. And it's just a monthly subscription, and you just can get in there and you have access to our threat intel, right? So that is something that we've reiterated and iterated on and been like, okay, how do we get this to our customer? Like I said earlier, like how do we make sure our data gets to the people it needs to get to? And that's kind of how we landed on getting it to the customer. So that's been a challenge, but really exciting and really fun to like have it out in such a accessible way. What do you think, Hayden? Yeah? I think so, right? Yeah.
Sweet. Well, we're going to loosen things up and we're going to do a quick lightning round here. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. Who's the best cook?
Me.
Well, it depends what type of food. If it's Mexican food, it's me. If it's probably anything else, it's probably Hayden.
If you can, eat it and it's gonna provide nutritional value, I am the better cook.
No, but you cannot have the Mexican food title. I will not give that to you. That's me, and you know it. So chill.
What's your best Mexican dish, Amanda?
I make really good enchiladas. Yeah, I would say that's probably my best one. Great
Nice.
guacamole, great Mexican style rice.
I can't believe this is what she's leading off with. Like I am, my chilaquiles for breakfast are phenomenal and have maybe won some culinary awards.
Not
But
true.
they're
Not true.
amazing.
Who's the messy one?
Hayden, oh
Me.
my gosh.
Me,
Hayden.
I'm the messy one.
So bad.
Who's
So
the good cop and who's the bad cop with the kids?
I think it depends on the kid.
Yeah, it depends on the kid. Like with our oldest, Hayden's always the good cop and I'm the bad. With our youngest, I'm the good, Hayden's the bad. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the bad cop with our youngest. That is for sure.
Oh, bless. And when you're stressed, how do you unwind? You said you obviously like talk about work over a glass of wine at 10:30 at night, right? But how do you like truly switch off and like unwind when you might be a bit stressed?
Oh man, I do a few things. So, I like to cook, obviously. Like, I still can't believe Amanda tried to take my crown there, but it's not coming off my head. I love to barbecue. That's a big thing I love to do. And it's just slow and methodical, and it allows me to be like creative and make my own recipes and stuff like that. That's why I love cooking so much. Um, I also like to listen to music and work out, and I take like taking care of myself as like a really important part of even being able to do the founder thing and do the startup thing. So definitely taking care of my own body is really big and important to me. And then if I want to go into like my nothing box, which is like where I'm just not thinking about anything. It's like this weird box where like I'm not thinking about work, not thinking about the kids, I'm not thinking about anything. I'll play video games if I get the time with the kids, like down late at night. I'll play video games. Um, and that's mainly like what I like to do to really shut my brain off for a second.
I like to go on a walk. Bonus points if it's a walk on the beach, of course. But I also like to just do like creative things, like little art projects here and there. So I like to do that. But I think as a family, like when Hayden and I are stressed and we're like, we need to get out of here because we work from home, we go to Dave and Buster's and we just play like so many games. The kids go off and do theirs, and I have my favorite game. Hayden has his. It's fun.
I think when Amanda's stressed, she thinks about ways to remodel our entire house, and then she talks to me about it, and I'm like, "Do you know how much?" Like, and I ask her, "Who's gonna do this?" And she says, "You." And I'm like,
You
Oh,
silly.
huh. Yeah. Let me fit that in on top of, all the kids' sports and doing all the working with our engineering team to get this stuff out the door. It fits right in there at between midnight and 2 a.m. of availability.
That's husband duties though, right? You've just got to
Yeah.
say yes.
Yeah. There's certainly some stuff there where I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Cool. And Amanda, what's next for Hunted Labs to tell the audience for 2026?
Yeah, I think just continuing to get people to understand the problem we're solving and understanding that we have the solution for it. I think that awareness, right? My favorite thing is like doing shows and meeting people and seeing the shock on their face, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's the problem you're solving, and it hasn't been solved before. Like, how can we work together?" So, I think just continuing to get that awareness out there and getting people excited about the fact that there is a solution for it, and we're here to help. So yeah.
Nice. And for everyone watching, Hayden, what's like a simple security action that they can take this week to maybe stay safer online?
Multi-factor authentication. Do it across all your accounts.
Sweet.
Yeah.
This has been such a great conversation, guys. I really appreciate you jumping on, and it's incredible to hear about your story so far, but just from like a team, a husband and wife doing it together. It's cool. So thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No worries. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of the Failure Files with Hunted Labs. I'm Chloe. This has been Trident Talks, and stay tuned for more stories of learning, leadership, and the lessons behind the headlines.